Is Teal Swan the new Osho? Or is she just the latest in a long line of controversial spiritual leaders?
You have spent a long time in the spiritual and self-help industry watching tons of teachers and experts and leaders.
By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of what Teal Swan's teachings are really about, how they've impacted people for better or worse, and why her methods echo the polarizing style of Osho. Who is Teal Swan? Teal Swan's story begins with a history of trauma. Born in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1984, she claims she endured extreme abuse as a child, experiences that she says awakened her extrasensory abilities.
I just decided to basically be the poster child for ritual abuse.
According to Teal, she possesses clairvoyance and the power to read people's past traumas, gifts she now uses to guide others on their healing journeys. In her own words, she's here to teach people how to heal, using what she calls the completion process, a controversial therapeutic approach she developed. But what's her appeal?
First, this is very black or white thinking.
Teal Swan speaks directly to those who feel unheard or unseen, and her message of radical self-acceptance resonates with people longing for a way out of their emotional pain. Her YouTube channel, which has millions of views, became a lifeline for people looking for alternative healing outside conventional therapy. And in a world more connected than ever, her social media presence allowed her to reach and deeply impact followers globally, making her influence immediate and widespread. Now, isn't that what spiritual leaders have always done? If we rewind to the 1970s, we see Osho doing the same.
Without making any judgment,
he too started with a radical message that attracted people looking for freedom from conventional beliefs, with teachings that range from the liberation of the ego to taboo-breaking ideas about and spirituality. He created a global community that was willing to leave traditional values behind. Both Osho and Teal attract people who feel disillusioned with traditional paths and are searching for deeper answers, but their methods often become controversial, where teachings may either offer deep healing or, some argue, dangerous risks. So is Teal's message of transformation a path to self-acceptance or a perilous journey? Controversial teachings and the deep end controversy. At the heart of Teal's teachings is a concept she's popularized called shadow work. Originally developed by psychologist Carl Jung, shadow work involves facing the darkest parts of ourselves, including suppressed memories, fears, and traumas. However, Teal has introduced her unique approach to this concept, emphasizing her completion process, which encourages followers to relive and release their past traumas actively. By diving into these personal histories, she claims individuals can achieve a form of healing and self-acceptance that traditional methods don't offer.
I'm essentially asking people to rewrite their entire version of reality.
But it's not without controversy. Mental health professionals argue that her methods are risky and unregulated. Teal has no formal training in psychology, yet people grappling with deep psychological issues use her methods. They claim that her guidance is neither therapeutic nor scientific. Some former followers say Teal Swan's techniques push them to re-experience past traumas in ways that left them worse off. In the documentary series The Deep End, former follower Ely visibly struggles with the emotional fallout from the completion process. During one session, Ely sits huddled under a blanket, watching as other attendees act out a traumatic scene involving her family, a memory they believe to be true. Visibly unsettled, Ely later expressed feeling uncomfortable and questioned the psychological safety of reenacting traumatic narratives, particularly ones that may not be rooted in factual memory. Critics argue that without professional mental health oversight, this practice risks serious emotional harm, leaving some destabilized and, in severe cases, even requiring hospitalization. In response, Teal has stated that the completion process is a path that brings suppressed emotions to the surface, where they can be processed and integrated into one's life in a healthy way.
I wanted to create a process which people could use regardless of whether they could afford therapy or not.
She argues that her method, while intense, offers a profound form of healing that isn't always acceptable through traditional therapy. The controversy didn't end there. Teal Swan fired back with a YouTube video accusing the Deep End director, John Casby.
And by the way, the director, John Casby, and a couple of other crew members even came to celebrate that birthday with me.
And producer, Bitsola of betraying her trust.
The second clip I'm going to show you is Bitsola. This is the producer that was with us for the entire duration of the project.
She claims they promised to portray her as a hero on a transformative journey, a hero that is helping people by her work. But when the time came, they casted her as a villain, a dangerous cult leader. This mirrors the controversy around Osho, when a cameraman played a similar trick, and leaked videos from his Pune ashram reveal practices that many found shocking and unsettling, casting a spotlight on the unconventional methods promoted within his community. Both Teal and Osho seem to operate on the edge of what's considered safe, suggesting that professional transformation is only possible by diving into uncomfortable, often taboo aspects of human experience. Devoted fans or cult followers. Teal's followers are, by any measure, intensely loyal. They attend her live workshops, travel for her retreats, and often make life-altering decisions based on her teachings. This all-or-nothing mentality has led critics to describe her following as cult-like. For instance, Blake Dyer, one of her closest confidants of nearly 2 decades, expressed his discomfort with the community's intense dependency on Teal's guidance, which for some became a replacement for traditional support systems. This sense of alienation is sometimes reinforced by Teal's teachings, which suggest that those outside her community may not fully see one's trauma or path to healing, thus intensifying followers' emotional reliance on her. In response to these critiques, Teal has stated that she views this dependency as a necessary step for those undergoing deep transformation. She argues that her role is to guide individuals in a way that traditional systems cannot, saying, "They need an unfiltered guide, someone willing to speak truths most avoid."
To summarize something I feel this passionate about is going to be quite the challenge for me, so stick with me if you can.
Where followers may become isolated from prior support networks. Sound familiar? Osho's followers were so dedicated they left their homes, moved to communes, and often surrendered their lives to his vision. Is it devotion or is it dependency? The line here is very thin. People deeply devoted to a spiritual leader can, over time, lose the ability to critique or question that leader, and Teal's followers aren't immune to that. Her healing retreats take her followers to isolated locations where they participate in deep self-reflection exercises. These retreats are designed to be transformative, but also have elements that some critics find troubling.
Like to think of ourselves as having graduated beyond religion.
Retreat attendees report going through intense, sometimes overwhelming emotional experiences that are led by Teal herself. One participant shared online that she felt trapped during a retreat, as if the environment was structured to control the group dynamic and keep participants in a constant state of emotional vulnerability. The setup has been compared to Osho's ashrams, where followers lived in isolated communities, fully immersed in his teachings, and often cut off from the outside world. Isolation can intensify followers' sense of loyalty and create an us versus them mentality, reinforcing the leader's authority. But it also raises questions about whether isolation is necessary for self-healing, or if it's a tool to foster dependency. The catalyst. Yet, isolation is just one layer of the risks.
I'm against.
The most disturbing controversy surrounding Teal Swan is her approach to discuss. Teal speaks about suicide as a topic in her teachings, and she's openly stated that she doesn't shy away from discussing it and views it as one option among many, and encourages people to explore their emotions deeply, even if it means confronting thoughts of self-harm. Psychologists argue that this approach is unsafe, suggesting it could romanticize or even encourage self-harm among vulnerable followers. They have expressed alarm at her language, warning that discussing such topics without professional support can dangerously destabilize at-risk individuals. One high-profile incident involves an 18-year-old girl, Cassie, who was a follower of Teal and took her own life.
To convince me otherwise, that Teal's teachings did not play a significant role in the mind of our daughter.
Her family has publicly stated that they believe Teal's teachings influenced Cassie's tragic decision, arguing that Teal's unfiltered discussions on suicide glamorized it rather than offer real support. In their words, her teachings romanticize the idea of death, making it appear as a viable solution rather than a problem to be addressed, which they say left Cassie vulnerable.
When you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling panicked, when you're feeling powerless, suicide is not the answer.
Teal has defended her approach, explaining that she discusses suicide as a way to bring awareness to dark thoughts that people often hide, hoping it will lead to honest self-reflection. She argues that by treating suicide as one option, it allows individuals to confront their pain openly, rather than repressing it, a stance she believes offers a path to genuine healing, even if others consider it controversial. Osho also stirred controversy for ignoring social conventions, but this goes even further. Where Osho was seen as a radical for defying social norms, Teal's methods touch on life and death topics in ways that experts warn could have severe, real-world consequences. A digital guru. In an era where social media shapes lives instantly, Teal Swan's influence has grown beyond the confines of conventional teaching. She has taken spiritual guidance online in ways previous generations of gurus like Osho never could. With every YouTube upload, Instagram post, and Q&A session, her followers receive unfiltered access to her teachings, embedding her presence into their lives at the tap of a screen. This accessibility, however, comes with a risk. Followers can consume Teal's teachings without the oversight of any mental health professional or spiritual mentor, potentially leading to misinterpretations or harmful applications of her advice. Osho's influence was powerful, but it was limited by geography and medium. Teal, on the other hand, can reach millions instantly, impacting people's beliefs and behaviors on a massive scale. Both Teal and Osho occupy this strange space of being labeled cult leaders while also defended as misunderstood visionaries. The unifying trait? Their willingness to tackle taboo topics, to walk the edge of what's considered acceptable. This is where we find the true link. Both of them captivated people by challenging norms, rejecting mainstream values, and embracing the dark side of life. They embody rebellion, and that rebelliousness makes them dangerous to some and liberating to others. So is Teal Swan truly the new Osho? They may look similar on the surface, but far different as we look deeper. At a glance, Teal Swan and Osho share undeniable similarities. Both are charismatic figures who have gathered devoted, often passionate followings, attracting individuals disillusioned by traditional paths and in search of deeper meaning. Their provocative styles and challenges to social norms have made them polarizing icons in their times. However, beneath these surface parallels lies a world of difference. Osho, with his background as a philosophy professor, had an intellectual foundation that drew from diverse schools of thought, Eastern mysticism, Western psychology, existentialism, and beyond. His teachings were rooted in an intricate web of philosophical concepts, demanding intellectual engagement, and often blending complex ideas on consciousness, freedom, and the ego. In contrast, Teal Swan, a product of the digital age, approaches spirituality with an immediacy that reflects her online roots. While her teachings resonate with followers seeking quick transformation, they lack the philosophical depth of Osho's work. Instead, Teal's methods center on emotional exploration and facing trauma directly, appealing to those who want immediate, relatable answers. Osho's intellectual rigor, cultivated through years of scholarly study and debate, differs greatly from Teal's intuitive, experience-driven guidance. Where Osho's legacy has endured due to his philosophical depth, Teal's impact may remain bound to the ever-shifting landscape of social media, where relevance is instant but can be fleeting. In the end, Teal's legacy might not echo through the ages as Osho's has. Instead, it stands as a reminder of the magnetic pull and potential dangers of social media spirituality. And with that, let's end today's video. So what do you think? Is Teal Swan someone who's reshaping spirituality in a meaningful way? Or are her methods too risky? Do you see her leaving a legacy like Osho? Or is her impact tied to the age of social media? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.